Hey gang, this is me, Joe V from RCGroups.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Graupner MZ-24 Pro. This is the latest edition of their 12-channel computer transmitter. So as you can see, the Graupner MZ-24 comes with 8 programmable switches, 4 programmable dials, and 2 programmable sliders on the back. Let's go in and take a quick look at some of the menus. The base menu, notified by the icon down here that has a B on it, provides access to all the basic functions to set up a model. Here you can set up a new model, find your receivers, and fine-tune your settings like reversing servos, channel assignments, telemetry, voice notifications, and more. After setting up the model in base, you can enhance your model settings in the function menu. Here you can create flight phases, dual rates, flap settings, logical switches, and anything else that has to do with enhancing your model's performance. The system menu allows you to set up your system preferences such as radio mode settings, volume, alarms, MP3 player, and display settings. The telemetry menu, indicated by the T on your main screen, provides useful model information in real time. Depending on your installed modules and sensors, you will find a wealth of useful information about your model state and performance. One of the nice things about the telemetry menu is that all the data values can also be called up via voice commands. Well gang, that about does it for the basics of the Graupner MZ-24 Pro. Now let's take a look at how to set up a model. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to set up a new model using the wizard on the Graupner MZ-24 Pro. So this is our home screen. Go in and select the base menu here. Hit Model Select. Choose a new or an open model slot and hit New. It's going to pop up right here and ask you what you want to do. You can either do it manually, you can use the wizard, or if you made a mistake here, you can go back. In this case, we're going to use the wizard. So it's going to ask you to set up a name for your model. So for this one, I'm just going to do test model. And hit enter. You can see test model shows up here. We're all set with our new model name. You do have options here for caps, alphanumeric, and special characters. Go ahead and hit wizard. Then it asks you to select what type of model you want to program. You can either do helicopters, airplanes, gliders, cars, quadcopters, or a boat. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and select airplane. And here's all your options for the wing type. So it actually is pretty nice on this because it gives you the channels. When you're setting up your models, it'll tell you what channels each one plugs into, so you don't have to go over and check the menu or look in the manual to see what it is. Each one is shown right here. So right here you have 2 aileron, 2 flaps, 2 ailerons, 4 flaps. All of the options here for aircraft are listed. Okay, so in this case, for the test model, we're just going to do a normal wing. If you hit this normal, you can also get the options for Delta, and it shows you the same setup as before, shows you all the different options that you have, and shows you which channel on the receiver each one would be programmed or set up to. In this case, we're just going to go normal. And let's do 2 ailerons, 1 flap. That's a pretty normal setup for a lot of people. So just choose that. Tell it what type of tail you have on your aircraft. In this case, we'll just go with normal. Tell it whether or not you have electric power or gas power. Let's choose electric this time. And here are all your channels. So this is your reverse and sub trim screen. So now you could go in and set up all of your reversing if you need it. And you could also set up any sub trim you need. What I normally do is get the entire plane set up first, and then I come back through to this screen and make any adjustments that I need to make. So we're going to go ahead and just click wizard. This is your endpoint adjustments. Again, this is something I would normally come back and do after I like to get the receiver bound and set up first before I go in and start programming servos for each one, so that I make sure everything is correct when I get finished. You can see here you can adjust all the different channels, goes all the way over. If you hit next, it would take you to the next screen. If you hit next again, it would take you to the next screen after that. Now if you hit next again, it take you back to the original screen. We're not going to make any adjustments here for this one, so we're just going to go ahead and hit Wizard. Here's where you would set up your dual rate and expo. Now for me, I normally set up pretty much the same thing every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through real quick and show you how I would normally set up a model, a new model. So obviously here you have ailerons. If you click this button here, you can switch from ailerons to elevator to rudder and then back to aileron again. So what you have here is you have your dual rates and you have your expo. Dual rates allows you to lower the throw amount on each servo that you program, okay? Expo actually softens up the center of the stick so that you have less movement towards the center of the stick. As you get out to the outside, you would have more movement. So as you start out, it would go a lot slower towards the outside edge. So in the center, it would be nice and soft and make smaller corrections, and then towards the outside, you would have your full throws available to you. Okay, so on this, what you can do is, first of all, what's a cool feature is you can go down here, and this is the symmetry button. So if you turn this on, then you can program both ailerons at the same time. If this is off, you would only program one at a time. So that's kind of a nice feature. If you turn that on, you can program both. Okay, so here, this is your control switch. So whatever control switch, you can see right here it's set to 0 or null. If you click that, then it asks you the options of which switch you want to use. You have no if you made a mistake. You can clear this back to the default settings, or you can choose a logical switch. Okay, now what's nice about this is all I have to do is flip the switch and it selects the switch for me. See, I selected switch 4, and now you can see switch 4 is already here. So you don't have to go in and select a switch individually. Once you get to that open screen, all you have to do is select the switch you want, and it'll automatically choose it as a logical switch. That's pretty nice. So what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and turn symmetry on, and I have my switch down to the low rate. So what I would do is make this my low rate. I would go ahead and select my dual rate, and I would decrease this down to, say, I don't know, 75%. Okay? Then I would go ahead and do my expo. I usually have my low rates on my expo at 30%. So on Graupner transmitters, it's a positive expo value here to get the expo that you're looking for. Okay, some of the other transmitters on the market will have negative, some have positive. Graupner has positive. So I'm going to increase this up to 30%. There you go. Now that is set up for my low rates. All I have to do now is flip the switch to the mid rates, and you can see everything changed. So now I would go in and I would select 80. Let's just go 85. And then my expo again would be 30. Again, on the Graupner transmitters, that is a positive expo, not a negative expo. At 30. And then that's set up. Now if I switch to my high rate setting, I leave the dual rates at 100% and I dial in 35% expo. Now these are just personal settings. You would have to adjust this to whatever your own personal preference is, and you can adjust each one to a different switch, or you can set them up so they all work off of one switch. So you can set your ailerons, your elevator, and your rudder all up on the same switch, or you can go in and select a different switch for each one. So now you can see if I have my low rate setting, my mid rate setting, and my high rate setting. It's just that simple. Then what you would do is you would go through each of your control surfaces and do the same setup for each one, however you would like to have it set up, and then you're done with that. Okay, so let's move on to the next screen. Now this is your throttle cut screen. So what you need to do is you need to choose how you want your throttle cut to work. This being an electric motor, I'm going to have throttle cut set up so you can see here on the left that if I move the throttle now, the throttle works. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go in and I will hit on. I will choose my logic switch, and all I have to do, again, once this screen is up, select the switch that I want. Okay, so I'm going to set this to on and then go back to wizard. Okay, what you have to do now is you have to hit on to activate it. So now when I move my throttle switch, I get my throttle response. If I flip my switch, now I get nothing. So now the throttle cut switch is already set. It's all good to go. You can also set this up for gas, you can set it up for glow, or you can set it up for electric, however you would like. And here is all the rest of the adjustments that you might, personal preference, you can go in here and adjust this stuff as you want. For the demo, I'm just showing you how it works. So hit wizard. So this last screen here is the screen that shows all the stuff that we have chosen. We've chosen an airplane with a normal wing, 2 ailerons, 1 flap, and the tail type is normal with electric power. If that's all the stuff you think you need and all the stuff that you have set up, all you have to do is hit enter, and that model is now set up. If you go back to the home screen, you're ready to go.